Is it working? Voice, is it on? Okay. I will call the town meeting to order. Can we ask for a nomination from the floor for a moderator? Do I have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Jason Bucksbaum for moderator.
Do I have a second? Made and seconded. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Nominations are closed, and Jason is the moderator.
All right, sounds like you're stuck with me. Can I ask the Deputy Town Clerk to read the warning for the meeting?
Hi, good evening. Notice and warning, special town meeting, Town of Southbury, November 7th, 2024, 7 p.m. Notice is hereby given to the electors of the Town of Southbury and those qualified to vote at a town meeting that a special town meeting will be held on Thursday, November 7th, 2024, at 7 p.m. in room 205A of the Town of Southbury Town Hall to consider and act upon a resolution of official intent to reimburse expenditures from the proceeds of tax-exempt obligations for the planning, design, reconstruction, repair, and replacement of roads, bridges, drainage, and other infrastructure and facilities damaged in connection with the August 2024 storm, in the maximum of $91 million, in authorizing an appropriation of up to $6 million from the general fund for such expenses. Jeffrey A. Manville, First Selectman; Justin Betty, Selectman; Jason Bucksbaum, Selectman; Timothy O'Neill, Selectman; Holly Sullivan, Selectwoman; Jason Van Zoen, Selectman. Dated Southbury, Connecticut. It says this 30th day of October, 2024.
Thank you, Danielle. Can I ask the First Selectman to read the resolution?
Resolution of official intent to reimburse expenditures from the proceeds of tax-exempt obligations for the planning, design, reconstruction, repair, and replacement of roads, bridges, drainage, and other infrastructure and facilities damaged in connection with the August 2024 storm in the maximum amount of $91 million, and authorizing an appropriation of up to $6 million from the general fund for such expenses. Whereas the Town of Southbury, Connecticut, the town, plans to appropriate not exceeding $91 million for the planning, design, construction, repair, replacement of roads, bridges, drainage, and other infrastructures and facilities damaged in connection with the August 2024 storm, including but not limited to, 1, the repair and reconstruction of various roads, various town roads, drives, and extensions and surrounding infrastructures, including bank reinforcements, spot reconstruction, bridge replacement, culvert repair and replacement, drainage reconstruction and replacement, erosion repairs, washout repairs, road grading and regrading, pipe work, triple pipe and metal storm pipe replacements, catch basins replacements, repairs and replacements at Community House Park, including the installation of new foundations, barn improvements, and tennis court replacements, and improvements at Southbury Public Library, including, among other things, mechanical replacements, basement cleanout, and mold remediation, and B, consulting, engineers, electrical, architectural, licensing, advisory, administrative, financing, legal, advertising, printing, governmental fees, and expenses and cost of issuance related thereto, collectively the projects, and said appropriation to be inclusive of any and all state and federal grants and/or Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, reimbursements in aid thereof. Whereas the town expects to be reimbursed for expenditures for the projects by FEMA. Whereas the town may finance any and all costs related to the projects in the future with the proceeds of tax-exempt bonds, notes, or other tax-exempt obligations authorized by the subsequent resolutions of the Board of Selectmen upon the recommendation of the Board of Finance and approval at a town meeting in the maximum amount of $91 million. And whereas the town may incur expenditures for the projects prior to the issuance of tax-exempt obligations and is authorized to make expenditures to be paid from the town's general fund with the intent to reimburse such expenditures from the proceeds of the tax-exempt obligations. Be it resolved by the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Southbury, Connecticut. 1, the town hereby expresses its official intent pursuant Section 1.150-2 of the Federal Income Tax Regulations, Title 26, the Regulations, to reimburse expenditures paid 60 days prior to any time after the date of passage of the resolution from the net proceeds of tax-exempt obligations. The tax-exempt obligations shall be issued to reimburse such expenditures not later than 18 months after the later of the date of the expenditures or the substantial completion of the projects, or such later date as the regulations may authorize. The town hereby certifies that its intention to reimburse as expressed herein is based upon its reasonable expectation as of this date. The first selectman and the finance director or their designee are authorized to pay said cost in accordance herewith pending the issuance of the tax-exempt obligations. This resolution is adopted solely for the purposes of compliance with the regulation, does not bind the town to issue any bonds, notes, or other obligation. Number 2, the town hereby appropriates up to $6 million from the general fund for expenses of the project. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Thank you. Is there a second to the resolution? Joe Ruggiero. Joe got you first, Dan. Joe Ruggiero for the second. Would anyone like to speak for or against the resolution? If you'd like to speak, I'd ask you to come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Would anyone like to speak for or against the resolution? The media's here. You get on nightly news. Sure. Come on up. Just state your name and address.
My name is Eric Olson. I live at 147 Old Woodbury Road here in Southbury. I'm also a member of the Friends of the Library. I'm actually on the board of that. And I guess I'm not so sure I have, first of all, I would have some questions about how we're going to spend $91 million, but I'm sure that someplace there'll be some documentation of that we can review. So I'm sure that the board has done that. I had a chance to drive by the library today, and I see a forlorn flag on the library's front lawn and not much activity there. So I know we're all suffering a little bit with this, and the Friends of the Library is doing whatever it can right at the moment to keep our activity going up at the plaza, which we really appreciate the volunteers that we have in the Friends. I'm interested if there is any activity involving our representatives, both federal as well as state, to help us with some of the bureaucracy that I know that we're having to deal with in order to get approvals to begin some of this work. And I know that there's probably a plan. I've heard a little bit about a plan, and there's a timeline that has been I can read about, I guess, in the Voices and maybe some local newspapers that seems relatively elongated. And what I'm really wondering is, has the board at all considered a plan B that gets some sort of library activities other than some of the volunteer work that's going on, as well as some of the, I guess, extraordinary work that's being done by the library staff to continue the programming that's been going on to the best of their abilities? And if there's any activity to come up with some way to, even if it involves some lack of possible reimbursement from the FEMA organization, to get the library opened, at least for the staff of the library, and possibly in an expedited way, some temporary fixes to the air conditioning system, the mechanicals in the basement, and most importantly, the fire protection system, so that the library can be opened more expeditiously to all of us. So my question is, what exploration has gone on to look at alternatives? Maybe you might call it a Plan B, to going through the very difficult labyrinthine maze of approvals that the FEMA process, as I understand it, requires us to go through.
Thank you. Two things. One, tonight, just as a point of clarification, we are not appropriating $91 million. We're appropriating $6 million. Did Dan or Jeff want to say anything about the project list or the FEMA process? There was a project list discussed at our last meeting.
Yeah, so to Jason's point, we're not voting to appropriate $91 million today. We're just giving the authorization in the future. And of course, as we go through the projects, we'd have to go through a town meeting to appropriate the funds. But the first and foremost project on our list is the library, and getting the library up and operational and open to the public and to the staff. Unfortunately, you know, all of the mechanicals in the library were in the basement. And the biggest thing is the fire suppression system. Until the fire suppression system is up and operational, we can't allow anyone to work in the library. We can go in, we can do some work, but to anyone be in there, you have to have a fire watch at all times. And, you know, to get the staff in there, we have to get the fire, you know, suppression system up and operational. The boilers were completely submerged underwater. The chilling station was completely underwater. Anything that was in the basement was completely submerged underwater and is not fixable or repairable, unfortunately. So with this appropriation, the $6 million, 2.14, 2.15 is specific to the library. Once this is approved, we're ready to go. We're ready to start issuing purchase orders. Lead time on this stuff, I heard today the chiller is about 4 to 6 weeks, but we're not concerned about the chiller. We're more concerned about the boilers because we need to get heat in there first. And we did a three-step process. The plan A was to get heat in the building right now, temporary heat, because we're fortunate that it's 70 degrees out today, but next week, coming into the winter months, we need to get temporary heat to make sure nothing else freezes or damages in the library. Plan B is to take these funds and start purchasing materials and supplies. And we had a structural engineer come. We met with him last week. He's going to put together drawings that we can use either for design build or to go out to bid. So once we get those, I think we're thinking probably 30 to 40 days to get those. We'll go out to bid. And then once that starts, then we can get started on these projects and hopefully, you know, reduce the timeline that we're talking about. The 18 months, reduce that, because as we start going through the process, we'll start figuring out what the lead time is on this stuff. But our goal is to get the library open as quickly and as soon as possible, because we understand it's an important thing to the community and it's something that we have to do. We also have a couple of culverts that, because of the storm, are completely filled with rock and stone and all other debris. We have to get those cleaned out. If we don't get those cleaned out, we have another 3 or 4 inches of rain, we're gonna have another issue on our hands. So that's gonna be about $700,000 to get that done. The next one is to replace riprap, stone, process, and reinforced materials on various roads. That's just to get the road shored up, $237,000. Drainage reconstruction on Luna and South Georges Hill Road, $201,000. And then Old Waterbury Road, to reconstruct the road and put 3 culvert replacements in, $3.2 million. So that's the bulk of the $6 million that we're looking at right away to appropriate. Now we have reached out, Jeff, I know, and myself, we've reached out to Representative Hayes. She's been very helpful. She's given us some areas that we can do. Thank God we have a new state rep here that we can kind of pressure a little bit. Because 2 years ago, the Hartford Public Library had a water damage where OPM, which is the Office of Policy Management, was able to get $1.5 million to them to help. When I reached out to OPM last week, they said you need to talk to your state representative, and I talked to Jason tonight, said I need to grab his ear. I know he's only been elected one day, but I'm going to grab his ear on that, and hopefully they will be able to also help us out. That will alleviate the need to take funding from debt service, and if they can do that, that would be a considerable help to us. So we are going to reach out to them. We are looking at all angles. I had some experience working with some large nonprofits. I'm reaching out to them as well to see if there's any way that they can help us out. It's not their background, but you never know. We're trying every angle we can right now. So
I won't speak for Congresswoman Hayes, but I've been talking to her, and I do know she's working. She's obviously been pretty busy the last number of weeks, but
Yeah, and
trying to come up with something.
And I will say, from our first meeting with her, she made it clear how important the library was for her as well to get it open. So we are working every angle to make it happen.
I got a question, quick one, while you're up there.
You're going to have to, yeah, if you could.
Is the
Can
library
you just,
You're in a,
brought up?
can you just identify yourself? And you could ask
Yes,
questions.
yes,
that
I
we
know,
could have.
I know. My name is Jim Griffin, live in Southbury, 843 South Britton Road. I have a question on pertaining to the library. Are we bringing it up to like a FEMA code or the building code for Southbury?
I-
We are bringing it up to building code for Southbury.
Oh, okay.
Now, the issue would be if FEMA changes the floodplain.
Okay.
Then we would have to do some changes to what we're doing, but we spoke to FEMA, Jeff and I reached out, Jeff actually reached out to them, and they told us, do the repairs now, and if they change the floodplain, that's a different source of funding, that's resiliency funding. So
Oh,
then
okay.
we would have to apply for that and get the aid to that to raise everything up the ground a little bit.
Okay, good, because I've heard all different types, and that's a,
Yep.
okay, I was
if
just
we,
wondering.
if we were to wait for a FEMA or the federal government to tell us something, we would be on hold for, could be
Yeah,
a
I
year,
figured that.
2 years. So they said, we were reassured, build back, get it running. If there's mitigation later on, that will be a whole different source of funding.
Especially knowing winter's coming.
Right.
So we do have to get heat in that building because.
Yeah,
from a
exactly.
$2.1 million.
Most
issue, it could
important,
be a
basically.
$3-4 million issue if we don't do
Yeah.
that.
Well, while I'm up here, the other question I had, as we go on in doing all the repairs that's been done and everything in town, and outside of town, no doubt you're paying for it right out of your pocket. FEMA won't keep up with your payments, or they're saying, after you get everything done, then I'll pay you?
So we've had some experience with this with the tornado. It takes time for them to reimburse you.
Gotcha.
Their standard is that you expend the money, and they will reimburse you based upon what they feel was right. And I say that because if you do something and they exclude it, it's not part of it.
Understood.
We were very successful in the tornado. We got the maximum amount of what we had expended. I'm fully expecting 75% reimbursement, but we do have to lay the money out in order to get the money back. I've heard this rumor about interest-free loans, and
Yeah.
I've not seen or heard anything officially. I've not even seen, well, we may be able to do that. So fortunately for us, right now, we carry no bonds, so we can move forward and get the repairs done.
Yeah, because I was wondering, as we go, in a given period of time,
I'm
can we be
hoping that
paid
the
back to
reimbursements
use
start
that money to
coming.
move forward?
Right, I hope that event, by the time we get this first amount
That's
done,
possible,
we still have money from the emergency we're looking for.
correct.
So that'll be submitted, and this is a separate. And then hopefully, I guess, for lack of better words, the cash flow will be there.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's good.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, thank you.
And for the tornado, it took about 2 years to get fully reimbursed. And we got fully reimbursed for the max what we were expecting, plus all of our, what we call administrative costs as well,
2 years.
2 years.
And we actually got an additional, I think it was 75,000 for administrative fees because of, and I can assure you, they're not giving us a dime more than
Right.
what really costs. It
Right.
probably costs more than that, but they recognized how much administrative cost was involved in the tornado.
Okay. Well, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other comments or any other statements for or against the resolution? Would anyone else like to make a comment regarding the resolution? That's one more time. Any other comments? Okay. So we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the resolution as presented, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Resolution passes. Being no further business coming before the town meeting, is there a motion to adjourn? Dan Colton, Giorgio beat the second again. Dan Colton, motion, Giorgio second. All in favor of adjourning the town meeting, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Ayes have it, town meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Now, we have a board of selectmen's meeting if anybody wants to stay. We'll give it to, okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming out for what is really truly an important meeting. Good to see you. Okay, I will call to order the Southbury Board of Selectmen regular meeting. Okay. I will call the Southbury Board of Selectmen regular meeting November 7th, 2024, in room 205 to order at 7:21. We're losing the news media. I feel, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. You can watch us online, though, okay? I will call us to order. Can we have the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could have a moment of silence for the Weathersfield firefighter Robert Shurivic and Botsford Fire Rescue Assistant Chief Peter Bloomberg. They were lost in the line of duty. Thank you. Well, let's keep our emergency services people, public safety people in our minds while they're doing their work. Next up is public comment. Any public comment? Anybody would like to make a public comment? Please take the podium, state your name and where you live, and we would have ask that it be limited to 2 minutes. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? And hearing none, we move on to announcements and correspondence. You have that in your packet. Next up is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve? Thank you.
So moved.
Have a second, Tim? Thank you. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It carries unanimously. Next, what we have is the swearing in of our first Deputy Chief of Police. Do we have the, where did she go? I guess I'll do the swearing in. She'll have the swearing. Danielle, but. Stephen Safone, could you, if I pronounced that right? That was correct. There you go. Come on up, and I will, I'll step up to the podium, just for a heck of it. You could raise your right hand, repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge according to the laws the duties of Deputy Chief of Police for the town of Southbury to the best of my ability, so help me God. You are sworn in, sir. Signature there. Okay, we'll get this notarized tomorrow. Get it notarized, and congratulations. So can we get a photo op with the chief? You wanna come up? It's your dad. Come on up, you're important. You took the trip, thank you for coming. Appreciate that. You guys Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes October 7th? Can we take them together, October 17th, 2024, and October 21st, 2024? First was a regular meeting, second was a special meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the two meetings? Tim?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tim. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And it carries. No unfinished business, no new business. We're on to the first selectman's report, which I have right here. And I also have another thing I want to read. FEMA Public Assistance, on Friday, October 25th, 2024, President Biden modified the major disaster declaration for the August flooding event to include public assistance for New Haven County, Fairfield, and Litchfield County. This makes Southbury eligible for 75% federal reimbursement of the costs associated with repairing and rebuilding uninsured damage to public infrastructure caused by the storm. Town staff have been diligently keeping records of costs pertaining to repairs, protective measures, and emergency response related expenses, and I am optimistic FEMA will reimburse our expenses. Members of our staff will attend virtual FEMA PA application briefing tomorrow morning for the next steps. The Disaster Recovery Center reopened at Town Hall this morning. That's why we're in here. FEMA will not accept new applications after the November 19th, 2024 deadline. I strongly encourage those with damage to apply for federal assistance, and for those who disagree with their decisions to appeal it. So far, FEMA has approved over $8 million to Connecticut residents affected by the flood. I did have a report about storm recovery, which Dan has already spoken about at the town meeting, but I just want to say for the record of the Board of Selectmen's meeting, I'll go over these numbers. The library, we looking at an estimate of $2,737,000 for fixing the library. Oldfield Road, $1,526,000. Culvert cleanouts, $1,772,940. That's for crossings and stuff. Catch basin cleanouts of $328,000. O&G buying materials, $516,000. Miscellaneous other projects at $484,767. Sectional reclaiming and paving, spot reconstruction of road edges, $496,973. Old Waterbury Road, $5,504,867. Bucks Hill Road of $2,157,563, and Community House Park replacement of tennis courts at $1 million. New road was damaged. It's a little road up in the Purchase, $900,000. Spruce Brook Road, $3,682,000 for two culvert replacements. West Flat Hill at $900,000 for a culvert replacement. Monroe of $900,000 for culvert replacement. Stilson Road, $900,000 for culvert replacement. Brennan Road, $900,000 for culvert replacement. And Community House Road, $939,524 for reconstruction of that road. This is a substantial amount of money we're going to move forward with and try and get things straightened out. We are vulnerable. As was said earlier, we have material in a lot of culverts and we're susceptible to storms. The town submitted a request to the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service for consideration in their Emergency Watershed Protection Program. The program can provide resources to protect town infrastructures, culverts, bridges, roads, utilities, and structures from future disaster. Our Emergency Management Director, Steve Schnell, is working together with the NRCS, who will begin its inspection phase of their evaluation process. Community Park, our fiscal director, Dan Colton, and I met with representatives from the United States Tennis Association to explore funding of resources and exchange ideas for rebuilding the damaged tennis courts at Community Park. Mr. Colton submitted an initial funding inquiry to the USTA with future meetings planned. Southbury does have a vibrant tennis community, and we look forward to offering new courts for everyone to enjoy soon. Again, the library update. Now that the library basement cleanup is completed, the town is focusing on plans for replacing the library infrastructure and securing an engineer to create a plan to move forward. The upper floors of the building continue to be monitored for humidity. Temporary industrial cooling and heating are regulating temperatures. Plans are coming together for a larger temporary space to house library staff and provide more access to library services. More information to come once the plan is finalized. Our finance department has begun offering annual budget workshops to our department heads for the upcoming budget season. If any of the selectmen are interested, we kind of run a budgeting a little different than some other municipalities. So we make sure that the department heads understand what we're looking for and how we do this process. I attended the Southbury Chamber of Commerce second annual meeting and awards dinner at the Wyndham Hotel on October 2nd. Congratulations to this year's winners, Danielle Hawthorne for Southbury Neighbors, and Andy Adams, Senior Ponchos, Lynn Ward, CEO of Southbury Chamber, Commander Ken Corso, and Ed Gilchrist were there. Then we went, we earned gold, which was, sometimes I don't know what's going on. Did I say that publicly? But we actually earned a gold. On Wednesday, October 23rd, the town of Southbury accepted the 2024 Gold Level Certified Community in Best Practices in Economic Development and Land Use Planning Award from the Connecticut Economic Development Association, CEDAS. And Southbury was one of the 3 communities in the state achieving the distinction of gold for 2024, joining 10 other towns from the previous 2 years. So it's important to note that this is to how we integrate with our planning, zoning, building department, and bring them all together so that when projects come in or businesses come in, it streamlines it, makes it better. And I was surprised there was not really that many gold. We're generally but we got gold, which is, we did good. Kevin's doing good. Presidential election voting concluded on Tuesday after many days and long hours of early voting, absentee voting, and election day voting. I would like to thank our registrar of voters, Joe Abruzzi and Marie Green, Mary McDonald, Town Clerk Alice Masano, and her staff, and all the staff and election workers who assisted with this very busy election season. What people don't know is some of the technology failed, hard to believe, and they switched back to paper seamlessly, and now they're entering all that information in the old way, and so they're working on that. Mentioned Array RX. All Connecticut residents are eligible to sign up for a free digital prescription discount card. The state of Connecticut joined Nevada, Oregon, and Washington to leverage their purchasing power and give access to lower prescription costs for its residents. For more information and to enroll, go to arrayrxcard.com. I also want to read a letter. Where is that letter? Let me get the letter. I had it here. That's that. I should get rid of the paperwork, too. Where is my Patrick Roy letter? Well, I will sum it up. I got a letter from Patrick Roy from the town of Roxbury thanking our emergency services, assisting them at a fire up in Roxbury just over the line. It became then led to a brush fire. On top of it, they lost a home. I assured First Selectman Roy that we always appreciate Roxbury coming to help aid in Southbury with their emergency services, and I appreciated the letter from him thanking us for that help up there in Roxbury. It got to be a little bit busy up there. So with that, I will ask for reports from liaisons. Justin, you're up.
Yeah, so none of mine have met since last time, but most of them are meeting over the next couple weeks, so that's it.
Okay. Jason, you're next.
The only group I had that met was the EMS committee. Nothing significant to report other than their normal business, reviewing reports from Southbury Ambulance. Two things I'll mention is, one, they're going to start looking at the ordinance that they operate under, and they may recommend some changes to this body over time. And then second, they still have a need for additional members. They have one. They still have a couple of alternate vacancies. So if anyone's interested in that committee, there's still a couple openings.
Thank you.
That's it.
Selectman O'Neill.
Community Relations Task Force met on October 23rd. They reviewed the last roundtable that they had. There's a new rising senior student representative, Stevie Bennett. So there was a motion to approve Stevie Bennett for the 2024-25 Pampero High School Rising Senior. Stevie Bennett is outstanding candidate for this role, showing a well-rounded profile that encompasses strong leadership skills, relevant experience, and a deep commitment to community engagement. I think some people may remember she did speak before this board on the importance of affordable housing. And now that we have a state representative, hopefully we'll get that on the books. There was a discussion too of a possible presenter for the next roundtable. The Town of Southbury Conservation Commission met on October 24th. Much of the discussion was about the damage done from the flood, missing benches at Bennett Park. The green fence was down. Flag Swamp Park had a bridge that needs repair. Janie Pierce's park, repair to the trail is needed. Shorts Field is going to be mowed in its entirety this fall shortly. So basically that was the gist of most of that conversation. Park and Recs Commission met on October 10th. Again, flood damage to Community House Park, Grange Hall, the barn, tennis courts was a big topic of discussion. There have been suggestions to use the flood as an opportunity to turn one of the community tennis courts into 2 to 4 pickleball courts with the intent to still keep 2 tennis courts. Settlers Field number 1 had issues with grubs eating the grass, so treatment was made on that. There was a big thanks to Ken Henderson, the pickleball coach, who hosted a charity clinic on September 29th to help those that were affected by the flood. He raised $500 through his clinics, which was donated to the Southbury Needy Fund. Town pool was discussed. The concrete has all been demolished, and there's a bunch of work going on right now with that. Pomperaug Aquatics Club, the swim program began on October 1st. So there's a lot going on there. Old business, They noted that data was needed to be collected regarding tennis usage and pickleball usage to determine if additional pickleball courts are needed in town. So in a subcommittee was formed with Charlie Rosa, John Deal, and Andrew Spencer to come up with ideas on where the splash pad is needed. Charlie and Megan also met with Muso Lighting to get an estimate of new lights for Community House Park. They were given an estimate of $345,000 to put into new lights in the upper field of Community House Park, $450,000 for lights on the lower field, and the lower field installation it can be done in phases. Basketball court could be lit for $55,000. So there's a lot of talk with parks. Michelle Rosen also announced that the Park and Recs Be the Light holiday celebration is on for Saturday, December 7th from 3 to 7 p.m. And that they're looking for volunteers. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Selectman Sullivan.
Right, so, Board of Ed met on October 28th. As many folks know, they have been for a long time making progress towards a feasibility study for Gainfield Elementary and PES, kind of what is the long-term plan. Will they eventually combine the schools down the road, or, kind of what is the future there? So they did break into executive session on October 28th. Discussing the firm that is going to move forward to actually be doing this study. So that's on track. That was a large part of their meeting going into executive session. If anybody has questions about the feasibility study, I know there's a lot of rumors out there about that they're definitely doing anything. It's still just a study to kind of determine what the best thing is for the kids and the long-term either separate, keeping the schools the way that they are, or bring them together. But again, no decisions have been made. They're just deciding have decided the firm that they're going to go with at this point.
Okay. Selectman Van Stone, I'm not going to call you Jason because I have too many Jasons here, so.
It's getting confusing.
We can be official. November will offer my first opportunity to meet with my commission's task force and committee, so I look forward to that.
Very good. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Quick. Second.
Second, there you go. Someone go. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, and it carries, and we are adjourned. Thank you.